So the penultimate round of the 2013C NASA RallyCross Challenge season is the Canadian RallyCross Grand Prix, the second of the two Canadian rounds, here at St. Eustache in Quebec, Canada. As last week we were at Bent Twig, and who knows what will happen today. Hello everyone, Josh Mertz bringing you the call for the Automotive Sports Network today. As this broadcast is brought to you by JavaShot Designs. If you need any painting done for any of your racing interests, you can contact Adam Sweet at his page at facebook.com/JavaShotDesigns. Here is the format for today's race. We have a 10-car field. It's the smallest field since Croft. We will have 2 heats, 4 laps apiece. The top 2 in each heat will automatically advance to the final, and you have to take the Joker once. The LCQ is 3 laps, top 2 advance, Joker once, and the final will be 6 drivers for today's race, and 8 laps, and you have to take the Joker twice. So, this circuit, St. Eustache circuit, there it is. If we take this graphic away, you can see that dirt straightaway and that jump. It's relatively one of the more simple tracks, as you have the first chicane, which kind of twists into the S's. You have a dirt mound, which sends you into the double apex left-hand corner. The water feature, which caught out several drivers last season. The gap jump, and then the decision on whether to take the Joker or not. And that final corner is a banked corner because this has an oval circuit on it. So what would be turns 3 and 4 of the oval is banked, and the quickest way around that is to drift it. As we have this graphic, actually this one, point scenarios coming into round number 9. The Drivers' Championship has tightened up even further. I know I've been repeating myself for the past 3 weeks. The Drivers' Championship, Dylan Livigan 124, Josh Mertz 122, Cody Erdman 118. Those 3 are still really the only realistic shots. Brandon Lambert is a very, 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 very outside shot. The Manufacturers' Championship 138 for Mitsubishi, 132 for Subaru. The Works Championship, MRT 240, Revolution 216. We don't want to say they clinched it, but if you'd bet against them, I think you weren't exactly the smartest person. Semi-Works Championship was clinched by MRT Jr. and Negus, and coming out of the paddock, before we came on air, Tristan Hagenstein and his Great Lakes Motorsports team are having ignition issues on their Ford, which is really strange because the Ford is one of the more stable packages in the paddock, but nevertheless, they are clinching the Privateer Championship 1 race early today because No Fear Racing, Solstice Racing, Great Lake, Caleb Paul, is not running. In the Nations Cup, USA 135, Germany 131, Canada 124, and you see the footer, 21 points per race on offer, and there's 42 left for this season, 20 points for a win, and the additional point for a heat win. And here's that graphic I mentioned before, the season stats between the 3 drivers that are eligible, or really the realistic shots for the Drivers' Championship. Dylan Livigood, your triple defending World Drivers' Champion. Obviously, all 3 of them have 8 starts. Livigood has 2 wins at the beginning of the season at Croft and Island Rally. He's had 5 podium finishes, 2 heat wins, and an average finish of 3.5. Josh Mertz, second in points, 8 starts, 1 win at Negus, 4 podiums. It could have been 5, but he cut the track at Charlotte. And the thing that's keeping him alive are those 8 heat wins. He has an average finish of 3.8. And Cody Erdman, his teammate, 8 starts, 1 win. That was at Riverside. 5 podiums, 2 heat wins, and an average finish of 3.6. And what gave MRT their huge lead in the Works Constructors Championship, you see the wins column for the 81 and 82. Those were 1-2 finishes for the team. So, let's get started, shall we? As there's Dylan Livigood in car number 1. He will be on the outside pole for heat number 1. As it looks like Matt Brinson for the Ford Abu Dhabi World Rally team has gotten lost as to where the grid is. So radio communications telling him, what are you doing? So he's going to back up. That could end in tears. As we're trying to find, there he is, Keith Sherman in car number 15. He will be on the pole position. Matt Brinson in second, Doug Denice third, Dylan Livigood fourth, and on the back row of the grid will be Dylan Smith in car number 83. So a Works Ford, a private Subaru, a Works Mitsubishi, and a Semi-Works Subaru for the penultimate round of the championship. Looks like we have a little bit of a satellite issue there. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. Everyone's coming back. So getting lined up for the first heat today. 5 cars will have 2 heats of 5 cars. as we're getting lined up. As it looks like Brinson, that looks like it was the Ford that Jari-Matti Latvala drove in the 2008 World Rally Championship, so that should be a great car for Mr. Brinson, as I believe Jari-Matti Latvala won in that car, but I don't remember which rally. As we are getting ready for heat number 1, we're revving them up, getting ready to go, and it's lights out, and away we go. Living Good blasts off the line like usual. I don't think I have to mention that. Doug DeNice in second, cutting the course. He's going to lose the position to Dylan Smith, and Matt Brinson will battle him for third, as Keith Sherman is in the 4th spot. So rounding and through the water for the first time, it's Living Good, Dylan Smith, Doug DeNice, Matt Brinson, and Keith Sherman. So over the jump for the first time, Living Good will go to the Joker automatically, or not automatically, already on the first lap. So does Dylan Smith, and we're going to see the merge. Here is their merge. Doug DeNice will swoop around the outside and take the lead and end lap number 1 as your leader here at St. Eustache. Living Good is in second. Smith, Brinson, and Sherman is your running order through the S's. In car number 10, as Living Good hounding him already. You can tell the speed difference, experience difference, and bumping him is Living Good. And over the radio, Living Good saying, "I'm not going to be nice to you if you're slowing my way again." So that could be interesting as Doug DeNice hits the water awkwardly and out of the way from Dylan Living Good. And now he's going to battle with Dylan Smith to see if Smith can take the position. DeNice goes to the Joker. So he will get back to third. At the end of lap number 2, it's Dylan Living Good leading. Dylan Smith trying to hound him to make sure that Living Good does not get that bonus point. As mentioned in the opener, Drivers' Championship, ever so tight. As Dylan Smith pushing hard to try and get Living Good. As Living Good has pretty much had, you could say, an up and down season, as he's been on the podium 5 times. He had that 7th place finish at Riverside. I believe he had a 7th place finish at Valkenswaard. So if he's not on the podium, he's in the back of the field, and that's what's kept him from extending his lead quite a bit. I believe his lead was 10 points after Talladega, and it has dwindled since then. But the white flag is out, and Living Good will push hard to try and get this bonus point for Rockstar Energy Revolution Racing to retain car number 1 for a 4th consecutive season in 2014A. As Dylan Smith right on the back bumper, let's see if he can catch him, and Matt Brinson, if anything happens to these two, Brinson will take the fight to him. Dylan Smith getting close, but Living Good trying to hang on. Smith runs it wide, hooks the car into the... Oh, he hooked the wheel off into the dirt, or into the grass, excuse me, and the elevation change from the water pit has sealed the fate for car number 1, Dylan Living Good. So the battle between the two Dylans wasn't exactly what we envisioned, you could say. And rounding the final corner, Heat 1 goes to your triple champion. Living Good wins Heat number 1. Smith will transfer through. Doug DeNice comes home in the 3rd spot. Brinson is in 4th. And 5th place will go to Keith Sherman in car number 15. So let's get Heat 2 ready to go. It's a lot like Talladega, where the grid is right in front of your face and you don't have to go too far. And on the radio, you know what Brandon Lambert said on the radio? "Why am I always stuck in the heat with the MRT drivers?" Well, that's a good question. As on pole, Chris Wetz. In 2nd, Cody Erdman. 3rd will be Nick Cars. 4th will be Brandon Lambert. And on the back row, the Chunk No Captain Chunk Subaru of Josh Mertz. These are all works cars in this heat, as the 6th and final works car was in the first heat, Dylan Living Good. Actually, there's 7. The only works car that's missing is the twin Volkswagen, which we haven't seen since Island Rally. So Mitsubishi, Subaru, Ford, Volkswagen, 4 different manufacturers, I know how to count, on the front row, and Mertz is starting behind his teammate. So we will see what happens in this heat. As we're revving them up for heat number 2. Getting ready, and it's lights out, and away we go. Cars, terrible start. 3 wide. Erdman, Lambert, and Wetz beating and banging. Who's going to take the fight? It's Erdman leading. Lambert second. Will Mertz take the advantage? No, he doesn't. Wetz is off the road, and through the double apex corner for the first time, it's Erdman, Lambert, Mertz third, Wetz fourth, Cars fifth. Over the water for the first time. Can Wetz take the fight to the 81? No. And over the jump, it's going to be Erdman, Lambert in the transfer spots. Who will take to the Joker for the first lap? Let's see. Lambert does in car number 5. Your 2012A champion takes to the Joker in car number 5. And at the end of lap number 1, it's going to be Erdman leading, followed by his teammate. And Lambert will filter through to last place because of the Joker. The Joker is about 3 to 4 seconds slower, if I have my math correct. As Erdman now leading, he needs these bonus points to get him back in the championship hunt. I believe he's 2 points behind his teammate, if I remember that graphic from earlier. So any points can help car number 82. And Mertz, an issue over the water. So with Wetz, it looks like in practice the wind was really not the same. As uneducated as that sounds, the cars were nearly barrel rolling over the jump. I was going to say flying, but they already fly. Obviously, it's a jump. As Mertz flies around his teammate, Erdman took it on lap 2, and at the end of lap 2, Mertz leads in car number 81, but you saw there, the long cut was pretty much non-existent for Erdman, or non-existent for Mertz to have a gap on his teammate. So once Mertz takes the Joker, he's pretty much going to lose the lead. And Erdman solidly in second, Lambert solidly in third, so it looks like Mertz is going to fall back. So not good for the 81. So we're going to see here as Lambert, we're going to pay attention to Lambert as Mertz will take to the Joker on lap number 3. We shall see. Yes, he does. Cut left. Erdman from the helicopter. Erdman around the corner, flying past his teammate. Here's Lambert sliding. This is not going to be a good merge, and Mertz is tangled as he spins in car number 81. So it looks like he's going again as they take the white flag. Erdman and Lambert are in the transfer spots, and your second place driver in points is having issues, possibly hearing gearbox issues on the radio, and he's spinning the car, and I don't think he's happy. He parks it. Second place is out, or second place in points is out of the heat, and his luck has run out for heat wins. His streak will end at 8 consecutive this season, and that's the first time, I believe, since 2012C that he has to go to the LCQ. The streak continues for the team, however. It's 9 consecutive for MRT. That has to be some sort of streak, as Cody Erdman wins heat number 2, followed by Brandon Lambert, the 2012A champion, will line up alongside of him, and Chris Wetz is in third, as Nick Cars will come home in the 4th position. As Mertz, not very happy on the radio as Cars hits the wall here. We'll wait until he finishes up. And the 35 of Nick Cars, the new Ford EcoBoost Focus, crosses the line in 4th spot. So the LCQ getting ready here, and this would be interesting because we have the 2012B title protagonists in this race. And if you thought it was pins and needles for the 81 because of his heat wins, well, let's see. On pole position in the LCQ will be Keith Sherman. Alongside him, the 2012B champion Mertz. And then I believe it will be Nick Cars. Then Chris Wetz. Once we find a camera angle, there we go. Then Denice will start behind Sherman, and Brinson will start behind Mertz in car number 81. So this will be interesting as 2 title protagonists from 2012B are in the LCQ. As we're lining them up, getting ready for the LCQ. It's a 3-lap race. You have to take the Joker once, so not a lot of time for messing up here at St. Eustache as final preparations getting ready to rev them up. Here we go for the LCQ at St. Eustache, and it's lights out, and away we go. Off the line, Wetz and Mertz get the jump, followed by Sherman and Cars. Mertz gets the whole shot, and Wetz is in second. Sherman, Denice, Brinson, and Cars round out the LCQ order. Let's see, through the water for the first time. Sherman retains third, Denice, Brinson, and Cars. As over the jump, for the first time, let's see who takes it to the Joker. Here in the LCQ, Sherman takes to the Joker. So does Denice, and so does Cars. So the Mangled Lemons Cars take to the Joker, and so does Denice. At the end of lap 1, Mertz leads, so it's 2 laps to go here at St. Eustache. And Brinson's in third, Sherman fourth, fifth Denice, sixth is Cars. So can Wetz catch the 81? As those two had a great start. As remember 2012B, Chris Wetz and Mertz were the title protagonists, and Wetz brought it home in third spot, and that was his title had Adam Simons not withdrawn his entry out of the LCQ after the two made contact. The infamous team orders that were ignored. To the Joker goes Mertz and Wetz. As Wetz is sideways, nearly hitting the wall, is Chris Wetz in car number 2. You can see he's pushing really hard. As rounding the final corner, final lap, white flag waving for Mertz in car number 81. Wetz in car number 2 is in second. Brinson and Denice are having a battle for third. And the battle for fifth might be heating up between the Mangled Lemons teammates. As the new Chunk No Captain Chunk car, the Haters Gonna Hate scheme, special scheme that was actually carried over from the Citroen team. That was a contract that they signed when they were Citroen, and the contract had to carry over. It's more awkward to see a French band on a Japanese car than it was to see a French band on a French car, but nobody's complaining. As the 81, tense moments in the paddock, but it doesn't look like it matters anymore. As he rounds the final corner, his winning streak continues, but this time it's the LCQ, as Mertz wins and immediately impersonates Ken Block. Wetz will transfer through, Brinson third, Denice fourth, and what is this? Nick Carr's upside down. Here comes his teammate Sherman. Sherman hits the wall again, and the teammates for last place in the LCQ, where have we seen this before? Battling to the death, and it's going to be Carr's fifth, as Sherman will have to come home in the 6th spot. As that was interesting, as the final drivers getting ready to go here. As the final drivers having a final debrief, and Dylan Livingood on the radio saying if you hit the title protagonist, you're going to have a bad time. So, finalizing here what will possibly happen if you make contact with a title protagonist, and that won't be very fun. And once we get them up here, sorry here folks, we are going to get the results from the LCQ. So, winning the LCQ is Mertz, second place was Wetz, and this will result in Matt Brinson, who came home third. He will get 7th place points. 8th place will be Doug Denice. 9th place, Nick Cars. And 10th place will be Keith Sherman. 11th place, Tristan Hagenstein, as he did not start. But this has effectively locked up the Privateer Cup for him because he has over a 21-point lead to Caleb Paul. As the LCQ is finished, the debriefing is over, and here is the final. We are getting ready to go for the final here in St. Eustache, and this should be a cracking race, as it's not every day that you have a points battle like this, so this will be good. As the drivers are lining up on the grid, it's Dylan Livingood. Once we find his car here, Dylan Livingood will be on pole position. Looks like as the triple defending champion, he has no clue what he's doing. It's a lot like Riverside, where I mentioned that the quadruple champions were replaced by a team that had no idea what they were doing. So it looks like he's just going to return to the pit lane. So he will be on pole in car number 1. It'll followed by Cody Erdman, who won heat number 2. Dylan Smith, the runner-up in heat number 1. And Brandon Lambert, the runner-up of heat number 2. And the LCQ drivers, Mertz and Wetz, pick their gates on the back row. So this is going to be an 8-lap race, and you have to take the Joker once. And remember last season with course cutting, it didn't end very well. So we're lining them up here, getting ready for the final here at St. Eustache. And who knows what will happen. The penultimate round of the NASA RallyCross Challenge in 2013C. It's been an MRT affair for the last 4 runnings of this race. Who knows what will happen as round number 9 of the NASA RallyCross Challenge is lights out and away we go. And off the line, Living Good gets the whole shot. The MRT drivers side by side, Smith and Erdman, as Lambert and Mertz are battling. And into the real corner number 1, it's Living Good, Smith, Erdman, Lambert, Mertz, and Wetz. Lambert beating and banging with Erdman for the 3rd consecutive week, and the teammates nearly making contact for the 2nd consecutive week. And over the jump, after the funnel points for the first time, it's Living Good, Dylan Smith, Lambert, Erdman, Mertz, and Wetz. To the Joker for on the first lap goes Dylan Smith. So does Brandon Lambert, and so does Cody Erdman for their first time, as Lambert and Erdman getting close, Wetz to the Joker as well. And at the end of the first lap, it's Dylan Living Good leading. As this is a cracking battle for a 3rd spot between Dylan Smith and Brandon Lambert for the podium spot. I know it's too early to talk about the podium, but we're going to do it anyway. And Dylan Smith holding 3rd, rear brake lock up as he slides wide. Lambert trying to take the fight to him. He makes contact with him, and his teammate takes the fight to him as well. As running it wide is Dylan Smith in car number 83, and it looks as though there might be something broken on the 83. As we have a battle for the lead heating up between Living Good and Mertz. These two are all over each other on lap number 2. And we've seen what happens between these two drivers when they get close. We remember Negus from 2012C and 2013C. And at the end of lap 2, it's Living Good leading, followed by Mertz. 3rd place is Cody Erdman. I've gotten word that Dylan Smith, no he hasn't parked, excuse me, and Mertz is sideways, and the 81 is around nearly. This could end the championship already on lap number 3 as Erdman's sideways. Lambert, Dylan Smith is spinning, and it looks like a stuck throttle, and it looks like he's done. So we have 5 cars remaining in the St. Eustache final after 2.5 laps. As Mertz is now playing catch-up to Dylan Living Good, Erdman is 3rd, Lambert 4th, Wetz is 5th, so it's going to be easier to keep track now that there's only 5 cars. And at the end of lap number 3, Dylan Living Good is your leader. Let's pull up the laps. 46 flat, 46.8, 47 flat. We're going to see what Mertz runs. A 48.9 because of the spin, so only 2 seconds off. Erdman, 48 flat, so a second off of Living Good. And Wetz has reclocked a 45.885 to be fastest here in the final. As Mertz is pushing really hard in car number 81. You can see the one at the bottom of that shot there, or the top of the shot rather. As over the jump they go. It's pretty much single file, as I believe everyone has gotten into their rhythm. They've taken their first jokers if they wanted to already. So at the end of lap number 4, it's Dylan Living Good leading. And let's see the lap times. 46.5 was his fastest lap. 45.5 his fastest lap. Second faster is Mertz. 45.6 is Erdman. Everyone running their fastest laps except for Chris Wetz. Lambert ran a 45.4. Erdman a 45.6. Mertz a 45.5. Living Good a 46.5. 1 second slower than the remaining 3 behind him. As this battle, we've seen it all season long between Dylan Living Good and Josh Mertz, depending on the track, has determined who comes out on top. And if I was Dylan Living Good, I'd be worried because this is his worst track statistically. And on the road, the 81 has finished on the top 2 spots every single race. End of lap 5, 3 laps to go, and it's Living Good battling to the death with Josh Mertz. Lap times 46.7 to a 45.7. Mertz is there after half spinning on lap number 2. As we're going to come to 2 laps to go this time. And this could get good as Living Good locks him up. He runs it wide. Mertz takes the fight to him. He takes the lead. That's the first time we've seen a pass on track, I believe, here in a long time in a final when it's not around the opening laps. So Mertz takes the lead in car number 81, followed by Living Good. Lambert has gotten by Erdman, who I believe has taken his jokers, and for the first time, Mertz and Living Good take to the joker in car number 81 and 1, and you see at the top of your shot Lambert and Erdman. So 2 laps to go here at St. Eustache, and it's Josh Mertz leading. Living Good's now playing catch-up, and these two are battling for the 3rd spot, as this is heating up for the podium spots, as all 4 mathematically title-eligible drivers, actually all 5 are mathematically eligible, are in the final. As Erdman pushing hard for the 3rd spot. Living Good trying to hold the 2nd spot. Lambert dives it in. Can he get a nose underneath the number 1? No, he can't. As the champions are in the top 3 positions, as Living Good gets bumped by Lambert, and Erdman shoots the gap in car number 82, excuse me. Meanwhile, his teammate, we're a lap and a half to go, and he takes it to the joker. So we're going to see here how they will unravel. And judging by the lap times, this isn't going to be good. As Mertz got called for corner cutting, Mertz runs it wide, understeer, and contact between the teammates for the 2nd consecutive week, and it's going to put Erdman, easy for me to say, out of the podium spots. As now, white flag, the 2nd place is now Lambert and Wetz as they're beating and banging. Erdman driving it in, as my vocabulary is not failing very well, and Erdman is off the road in car number 82. And please someone slap me for my grammar in English, because that was the worst display of it I've ever seen in my life. So a reboot of the order. It's Mertz, Lambert, Wetz, Living Good, and Erdman. And Erdman's race has gone from bad to worse. So a 4-point lead, if we recalculate it real quick. 2nd win of the season, and it's going to be Mertz winning, albeit mutedly over the radio in St. Eustache. Lambert finishes 2nd, and it's going to be Wetz in the 3rd spot. Living Good will finish 4th, and Erdman will bring it home in the 5th spot. Really angry with what happened with this last lap and a half. So we're going to see, looks like we don't need any replays in particular, as the anthems will play. As, let's get as the anthems play for Mertz in car number 81. He wins, followed by Lambert, followed by Wetz, Living Good, Erdman, and Dylan Smith, your final order. Brinson 7th, 8th Denice, 9th Cars, 10th Sherman, 11th is Hagenstein. As this will put the Drivers' Championship a 4-point advantage to Mertz in car number 81, 142 to Living Good's 138. Erdman is now 11 points back in car number 82. And Lambert, if there's less than 17 cars, he will be out completely as he's 21 back. So the top 4 are the only drivers eligible. Manufacturers' Championship, 153 Mitsubishi, 152 Subaru MRT, 273 to Revolution Racing's 245. Semi-Works doesn't matter. Privateers has been clinched. The Nations Cup, 152 United States to Germany is 151. So the Manufacturers and Nations Cup are 1 point, Drivers is 4 points, and the Works Constructors Championship is pretty much over, depending on who you talk to. And I forgot to mention that as soon as this race was over, they're packing them up and sending them to Irwindale. We will be racing tomorrow at the Irwindale RallyCross circuit for the Irwindale RallyCross Grand Prix to set this season off with a bang, as the 2013C season will complete itself at Irwindale tomorrow. As the anthems finish, who knows what will happen at the brand new circuit, as Living Good has 2 wins, Mertz has 2 wins, Erdman has 1, Lambert has 1. Who knows what is going to happen? As I'm glad you can join us here in the Automotive Sports Network for round number 9 of the NASA RallyCross Challenge season in 2013C. As I hope you enjoyed today's coverage, and we'll see you tomorrow from Irwindale. Until then, so long everyone.